Sometimes letting things go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. A quote from Eckhart Tolle. One of the most important roles that I have as a coach, mentor, or friend is to help people change the beliefs that are holding them back. If we never take the time to examine the beliefs that we hold about the world, about people, about ourselves, we'll be doomed to experience our past over and over again. Whether we know it or not, our core beliefs have tremendous control over our lives. They are literally the rules we use, consciously or unconsciously, and they determine our decisions, actions, and feelings. They can empower us to reach great heights or limit us through self-sabotage. Think you can and think you can't, either way you're right. So I found that a person's belief is the major barrier to not living your desired life. I refer to these as limiting beliefs. Added to this is a lack of commitment to values and a lack of goal setting. So how do you reach your true potential? By honestly examining your beliefs, keeping and committing to those that resonate with you, and release those that don't. What I've learned is that once you closely examine a limiting belief, it tends to disintegrate and disappear. So before we go further, what are really limiting and empowering beliefs? A limiting belief is quite simply an acceptance of a reduced state or quality, and mostly without proof. The opposite of a limiting belief is an empowering belief. Some may believe that they're generally a good person, and perhaps they believe that they are capable of learning something new. So these are examples of empowering beliefs. On the flip side, however, some people believe that they are in some way not good enough. Perhaps they believe they are a slow learner, or aren't capable of learning a new skill. Or perhaps they believe that other people don't listen to them, or don't like them. So these are what we call limiting beliefs. In the past, people used to believe that the world was flat and that disease was caused by both bad smells. Now we know that this is ridiculous, but it used to be considered common knowledge. So a great way to start examining your beliefs is by asking yourself, what do I believe to be true that may not be true at all? For example, I can't do maths. I'm not that smart. I don't add value to my work team. So let's focus now on changing a belief. There are many different paths to the top of a mountain, but the view is always the same. So the method that I'm going to be sharing with you is the simplest and yet the most powerful belief change tool I have come across in the last 10 years I've been studying this. It is in fact the only system of changing beliefs that Dr. Deepak Chopra endorses, as it works on all three parts of the brain: the hindbrain, the midbrain, and the forebrain. The tool has a successful rate of around 95%. I've seen people change beliefs in their lives in as little as 15 minutes in my workshop. So the first thing we do is to look at, so the process consists of 7 steps. The first step is identifying, is this statement, is this belief 100% true? And the second step is ensuring that you know for sure that it's 100% true. The next step is to understand what holding on to this belief does to you. So what are the benefits of holding on to this belief? Who will you become in the next 5 years as a result of holding on to this belief? So what are the benefits? The fifth step is understanding what the cost will be in 5 years if this belief is not changed now. So what are the drawbacks of holding on to this belief? The next step is understanding who you would become and how you could act without that old belief. And the last step is creating an intention card or affirmation. So let's next focus on the cultivation of self-compassion and the resistance of perfection. So many of the things that we have to let go of are vulnerability shields. The reason we have to let go of them is because they simply are to keep us safe. For example, I believe that I am not that smart. You realize that by holding on to this belief in what we call a vulnerability shield is that you can hide behind it. Let this go and show up differently in your new belief that you are smart. Have you considered striving for perfection is not really healthy? In her book, The Gift of Imperfection, Brené Brown talks about the 20-ton shield we carry around and how through our pursuit of a perfection, we work to avoid or minimize blame, shame, judgment, and criticism. So how do we let go of perfectionism? That we do by practicing self-compassion. Dr. Kirsten Neff, an education psychologist who created the self-compassion skills, said there are 3 components to self-compassion. The first one is self-kindness. We talk to ourselves as we would talk to a loved one. The second component is common humanity. People who are self-compassionate have a sense of common humanity. They know that their struggle is a struggle of everyone. If you have shame about it, it is probably something that is universal. We think we are alone in it, but we're not. And the last component of self-compassion is mindfulness. Kirsten defines this as allowing ourselves to deeply feel what we are feeling, but not to over-identify with it. She describes mindfulness as not just an awareness and a coming alive about something, but also the need to have that awareness and consciousness in perspective. What would happen if you talk to yourself the way you talk to someone you love? So here are some action points to conclude this step in your process. Start by identifying your limiting beliefs about the challenge that you choose to resolve in the previous session. Be as specific as possible, because the clearer you are as to what that belief is by remember specific incidents like where, when, who said it, who was present, the easier it is to clear that limiting belief. Take 10 minutes to complete Kirsten's self-compassion inventory by clicking on this link. And following that, what did you learn about yourself? Write down what would happen if you talk to yourself the way you talk to someone you love. There are 7 areas in your life: financial, mental, spiritual, family, social, environment, and health. So identify in which area of your life you could practice kindness. The next step is to identify what you can commit to in order to be kinder to yourself. Can you identify what the armor is that you wear to protect yourself from vulnerability? Why do you put it on? And how do you get it off? And the last action point I invite you to inquire about is, what can you commit to in order to be more vulnerable? Well done, you're doing so great. I look forward to telling you about step 3, which is all about abundance and gratitude. If you know of anyone else that will be able to get great benefit from this course, please send them this link here.